Problem 1-43, Part 3, we are going to be working on the balance sheet. So we've already created the income statement and statement of owner's equity in previous videos. And now we're going to go ahead and create the balance sheet. So as usual here, we're going to need our 3-line heading. So the 3-line heading is the name of the company. So we have West Company. And then we have the name of the statement we are working on. That is the balance sheet. And then we need the date-related third line. So it's either a single day or a period of time. So now remember, the balance sheet shows balances. So that has to be as of a single day. So because the balance sheet is like a snapshot, like a photograph or a picture in time of the balance of the company's finances on that day, we're going to go ahead and say December 31st, 2025. So it also gives us that date right here. So next we need to remember our formula for the balance sheet. So that is assets equals liabilities plus ending capital. And remember, we get the ending capital from the statement of owner's equity. But let's work on the asset section first. So we need to open up our data table here. So I'll view the accounts. So let's just go down in order, starting with land, and work our way down and find all of the assets. So land is an asset, so I'm going to go ahead and put that label first. And then for 8,000, we can Control C, copy paste. And we will learn later in this quarter what the official order is to the list of assets, but for now, my accounting lab doesn't care what order you put these assets in, just as long as you get the assets in the assets section. Okay, so now working our way down, let's find another asset. So let's take a look here. These are draws, expenses, payables, revenue, supplies. Supplies is an asset. Okay. Since they have a future value. Now next, going down our list, the next one I see here is accounts receivable. So we have accounts receivable for 1,000. So our customers don't owe us that much. So let's go ahead and keep going down our list. So building is the next asset that I see here. And that is 145,200. And I wish our table wouldn't jump around like this when I'm doing this problem, but it is what it is. All right, moving forward, what's the next thing we have? We have cash. Cash is an asset. Let's go ahead and input that there. And that is for $3,000. And last but not least here, we have equipment for 16,000. So let's go ahead and input equipment for 16,000. And then you're going to see this double underline here. This is a subtotal or total. And so we're going to put in total assets here to add up all of these guys. So that's going to end up being 183,200 for our asset total. So you'll see one underline here ending, and then double underline here for the last one, which means, again, total. So next up, when we review our formula for the balance sheet, we have liabilities. So this section right here. So we're going to go ahead and look in our accounts and see what payables we have. So anything with a payable, we're going to input here under liabilities. So let's take a look and start at land and go down and see what we have. So we have notes payable first for 32,000. So let's go ahead and input that. Notes payable for 32,000. And then we'll continue down. So that's an expense, draw, expense, expense. Salaries payable. That's our next one for 1,300. 1,300. And then I see revenue, supplies, capital. Nope, nope, nope. Accounts payable is our next one here. So accounts payable, and that's going to be for 11,000. And then remember, we do have a subtotal here for total liabilities. So we're going to go ahead and input total liabilities for this last line for our liability section, and that is going to give us a total of 44,300 for those liabilities. And please note, under the liability section, traditionally accounts payable is listed first, but right now my accounting lab does not care what order you put them in. Later we'll learn the official order when we get a little bit more knowledge about accounting. So right now we're beginnings and we're not trying to be perfect. So that's that for our liability section. So next up we have owner's equity. So remember what comes next in our formula for the balance sheet. It's ending capital, and where does this ending capital come from? Notice it's the last line of the statement of owner's equity right here of 138,900. So you'll see statement of owner's equity, that's that ending capital. So let's go ahead and put that label here. We have West Capital, and we're going to tab over here to get 138,900 dropped down from our statement of owner's equity. And then now we have our final line here. So this is going to be total liabilities and owner's equity. So it's going to be the liability section added to the owner's equity section. And then that should, you hope and pray, equal the total assets here, as the equation is assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity. Let's go ahead and input that label here then, the total liabilities and owner's equity. And we'll close this down so we can actually see. So this will be 183,200. So again, we add the total liabilities to capital. You can check that on a calculator real quick just to double check our work. So that is going to be 44,300 plus 138,900. And that should again equal, yes, 183,200. Right here, total liabilities and owner's equity, and that does equal our assets. So our balance sheet does balance. Wonderful. Okay, and so if you do accidentally mess up one of these labels, it will give you a hint with the incorrect answer message or partially incorrect answer. So then that way you can see where you may have messed up at, and that's just on the homework, of course. So let's go ahead and check our answer and see how we did. Nice work.